only I had that power for real.
Repeat after me, Amelia Earhart.
I'll try it. Amelia Earhart. Now, how old would she be now anyway? Yeah. It's time to kick off. All right. Right after I close the door, I'm going to start this thing. Okay.
Hey, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 11:31. We're going to get going. So here is the note well. Since this is the only meeting of the week for some of you, I will read the text. This is the IETF note well. It is a reminder about the processes and policies, including about conduct, privacy, and intellectual property rights you agree to follow when you participate in the IETF. Please read it carefully. You're encouraged to read the source documents to which the note well refers. If you have any questions, please talk to the working group chairs or area directors. There, I actually read the approved text about the note well. Does that take 30 seconds, which is about how long I'm in theory supposed to leave the note well up?
It's not a race.
It's not. Anyway, it's there. This is updated from previous meetings, although most of the RFCs have not changed. But the note well text for the slide, there's not a note well and note really well this time. So this is the new note well. And you may ask either of the chairs or our nice friendly AD Gory if you have any questions. All right, here's the agenda. Somehow in the agenda I put on the data tracker versus this one, there's an all other business after 8881 bis. I presume we will have time for other topics. Somewhat quickly go over chair status. And Tom, this is the time when you can raise your hand, and I will call on you momentarily. There you go. So these are the adopted documents, and I do have some comments to the extent that I know them. I will note that the internationalization draft, the chairs have been doing working group last call kind of review themselves as well. And in particular, that is yours truly. And I'm a little concerned that some of the material that is in Appendix A is referenced as informative, or is noted as informative, but a little more referenced as normative. And I'm trying to square those two things. And so, yeah, I will put it to the list when I have worked it out. But if you're wondering what the state of the internationalization draft is, because my goal was to push it out of working group. When I did a more detailed read myself, I wondered if I could kind of fix that before I did that. So that is the state of internationalization. Brian and I have talked about it. We both kind of agree on that, and we're going to see what kind of edits we would recommend to kind of square that. And then POSIX ACLs. So Rick is actually here, but if he wants to make any more comments, these are the ones he sent me on email. And then we have the other ACLs. And I will have a slight ACL conversation upcoming. Tom, before I go there, Tom, yell at me now.
Yeah, so I did send in the IETF NFSV4 uncashable -00, and it needs to be approved.
Oh,
That's what I was yelling.
okay. It's just that we have adopted the document, and I need to. I'll be honest. I did not see that. I'll have to go look at the data tracker as to what.
Yeah. I yelled at you 2 times.
Yes, you did. I found those.
Okay.
So I will say, at least at one of your, hey Chris, what are you doing? I was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not a single click. I'll
Okay.
say that in the data as with regards to the data tracker. That doesn't mean it's still not on me.
Okay. So what I'm actually my agenda on that was to get the base document accepted into the IETF stream and then split it into the 2 that we agreed upon last time.
Yeah, I will note that our minutes weren't super clear on that point, and I'll have to.
When's that gonna happen?
Dave wants to know when you're.
As soon as I get the ability to start editing it.
Okay, I will do that today.
Yeah. So in particular, I have a Dave's wonderful review comments to go through, and by wonderful I mean detailed. No, I'm trying not to be sarcastic. Is my point.
Yeah.
I'm looking to go through them, but yeah.
All right, so I will fix that today and move it from draft Haynes to draft IETF.
All right, thank you.
That's and yeah, I did not see that. I was wondering why, but okay. Other documents. So Chuck has put 3 on. He's looking for some more discussion about the copy implementation experience. He's not 100% sure if that will become he's unsure right now what his full intentions on that are, whether or not it would become a working group draft or if it will just be, kind of a, experience draft. We want some conversation on that. The first 2, he eventually intends to ask for adoption, but he is not asking at this time. And then he has made an ask for an adoption call on his ACL draft. Rick is in queue. Go ahead, Rick.
All I was going to say is I think for the first one, Chuck did ask for an adoption call. I remember seeing an email recently. I was actually surprised I'm listed as an author on it. But anyway.
He did that for. I'll have to. Okay, I'll need to double check that. I actually confirmed with Chuck yesterday or the day before.
Okay, well, maybe he changed his mind and decided to wait a bit. I don't know.
Well, so he said he does intend to, but he hasn't asked yet. But I will check for. So I will take half a moment, ignore the pause here while I actually make a note so that I actually get this done. All right. And then he does have, like I said, he definitely put to list an adoption call for the ACLs. I have no one's in queue. I'll go ahead to the other document status. So then we have flex files. There is an adoption call for security, and then we have 5662 BIS as.
I think there should be adoption call on that too. I thought it had, I get lost track, but I think it requested a while back.
You may very well have. Like I said, I've learned a lesson to not trust the AI summary. Brian, if you hear that, you still have a job because it missed some things, and I didn't go back and review the entire.
Dave, if you go to the mic, I'd be able to hear you. I can't hear you when you're talking from the table.
Sorry,
What did he say?
Dave said that there was an he believes he asked for an adoption call on 5662 bis. And my note was that the AI summary doesn't necessarily capture all of the chair do-outs.
Yep.
Okay. So that was the end of that. I do have a slot in here where I did want to have, from the chairs, we have 3 documents that are all related to kind of updates to ACL. I see you, Tom, and is it about ACLs or something else? Okay. Go ahead then.
I was just going to say, to clear up the flex files versus erasure coding, they had been 2 documents. I have pulled everything into the flex files. So the conversation I'm having today later will be this document.
Got it. Thank you.
I was never clear about whether these are 2 features or 1.
That's why I put it into one paper to make it clear.
Well, it wasn't clear to me. Basically, can erasure coding be done apart from flex files?
No.
Can flex files be done apart from erasure code?
Yes.
Okay.
Can somebody just echo back what Dave is saying if he doesn't use the microphone?
Dave asked if, I mean, you're the only person in the room, Dave. If you just lean backwards a little bit, you could actually grab the mic. And unless Gory needs to go to it.
I will find it.
But yeah, I would say you could use this one. There's 3 mics in the room and 3 humans. So
except someone's.
Dave asked if erasure coding can be done without flex files. The answer is, as Tom said, no. But flex files doesn't need erasure encoding. And that was not clear to Dave from the previous set of drafts.
Okay.
All right.
I just read them kind of quickly, but I was confused. And Tom has cleared that up.
And then the other thing I will say, so we have, and I'd like authors to if they have opinions on this. I did ask Chuck this question already, which is we have 3 ACL drafts. So we have one adopted, another one seeking, we have 2 adopted and a third asking for adoption. I asked Chuck, hey, are these conflicting or complementary? And his opinion was that the ACL drafts are complementary, i.e. we could do them all. They are not conflicting, and the working group could do it, and it could be advanced potentially as a cluster of ACL docs. Christoph?
On a strictly technical level, that's true. I still question the need for the NFS4 ACL document when we do the POSIX ACL one, but that's maybe an overreaction. I'm not a definite statement, but I'm not really sure what we actually need it for.
Okay. I appreciate that feedback. So that was Chuck's kind of statement. I'd love to hear from the other authors. So Rick, Dave, any thoughts about the different ACL documents? And if you haven't read Chuck's, or if you're not sure what the alignment or whatever is, that would be fine.
Actually, we got 3 ACL documents. Sorry, I think I need to clarify what I wanted to say. So Chuck's ACL document is like the old NFS3 ACLs and just a documentation of the fact of the existing 20-year implementations. And I think having that in some form is definitely useful and has absolutely no impact on the others. What I'm not sure what buys us much, but I'm pretty sure Dave will explain us, is why we need Dave's NFS4 ECL adoptions, because they were kind of going in a similar direction as Rick's POSIX ECLs for NFS4, but there might be still some bits left. And to be fair, I haven't looked at the document in the last couple of weeks.
Well, I don't agree with you, but I think that they're both they're not conflicting, and the difference is Chuck's document is about V3.
Eat the mic.
Sorry.
You got to get
Chuck's-
the mic right up to your mouth.
Chuck's document is about V3. Rick's document is about a V4.2 extension, and mine is about V4.1. And I think it's probably we took a bad turn when in the NFSV4 ACLs, but I think what I seem to hear you seem to be saying is, well, let's get rid of them. No, we can't get rid of them. I think that could be done, maybe considered at V4.3, but we're not prepared right now to drop things that we have and try to clean them up. So that's why
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's 4.1 at this point. Everything should be 4.2. We need to stop trying to make minor changes to the old minor version. But that's one of the other always recurring discussions we're having.
What? I won't. I'll come back to that thought, Christoph. Rick, if you want to add anything.
Well, all I'd say is if you're going to be extending the NFSV4 ACLs, you really need to get the people who are involved on the Windows side in the discussion. I don't know how to do that. The group has become active building the 4.1, and I think it actually does 4.2 as well, client for Windows based on the old city work. But I don't know how you get them involved in the discussion, but obviously V4 ACLs are important to the Windows people and maybe Apple. I think it's funny, if you look at Apple's documentation, it claims it does POSIX ACLs, but when you actually look at what they do, it appears to be much closer to Windows and NFSV4. But I don't know how you get those groups involved in the discussion.
Quick question, and I think Rick will know it. Is Apple actually still doing NFS? I remember they had a client based on yours, but that was a long time ago.
Well, the client wasn't actually based on mine. At least I don't know how much code they took from it. They've actually recently, I was surprised, upgraded to 4.1. So they're actually doing some work on it. How much? Again, I can't say. I don't even know how the ACLs work if you sit there right now with a Mac. I don't have a Mac. They're too pricey. They're nice, but they're too pricey. I don't know if that helps.
It's definitely interesting news, because I thought NFS on Mac OS was kind of dormant, and it looks like it is.
So what I'm hearing as a chair is that, at least at this time, I mean, maybe these do advance as a cluster, but what I'm hearing right now, at least, is that these are three independent and mostly complementary drafts. I hear that we have some issues with kind of participation, especially with the clients. I mean, we do need to get those folks that I'm willing to do some kind of reach out to see if I can get both Apple and
that'd be great.
and the Windows folks to participate. I will offer up, particularly if it matters, and maybe this is a Bakeathon thing. I'm willing to hear some feedback on that, possibly on list. I have a bunch of Macs. I'm willing to, if somebody gave me things they wanted me to run, test, or do. Sorry, Tom, you cut out there. We lost your audio.
Let me steal a second until Tom fixes his audio. So the Chuck's NFS3 draft, which is really just documentation of the old protocols, completely independent of anything. And the two NFS4 ones might have a very, very minor interdependence, but we can't sort that out as we go, I think.
Okay. Is there any objections to adopting Chuck's draft? I'm not hearing any. Yeah, it's the historical, but that kind of trickles into what the current implementations on V4 are. Our ADs.
Getting static from the mic. That's fun. Okay, so tell me why the working group needs to spend energy doing NFSV3 as a spec.
So, and BP may be better suited to answer this. We cannot do V3 as a spec, generally speaking. So that's still under Sun and now Oracle change control. However, a lot of the existing servers that are V4 don't really implement V4 ACLs, and this draft documents what V3 did and what non-trivial set of servers in the wild actually support.
And do you want to publish that in the IETF stream or just as an independent submission or something?
That I don't have a great answer for at this time. It was that draft was just submitted and Chuck's not participating in the meeting at this point.
No, just trying to work out. Talk.
I mean, it definitely shouldn't be standards track, but I'm not quite sure what the right track is. And
I guess it depends how mature it is and whether everybody loves it or not.
Yeah.
So let's just see how that pans out. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need it. I'm just saying, should we be allocating our energy to making it?
Yeah. Tom, are you?
Gloria, I suspect the answer is yes, because implementers of clients are likely to encounter that behavior in server running code. Although I agree with Christoph that making it normative is a little dicey. At the very least, informative seems to make sense, as an implementer might wish to be informed of this nonsense.
I like people talking about it because that suggests to me that they're going to review it and finish it. Sorry, David, I didn't mean to hit you on that one. But generally, if we talk about it and we think it's good and people are reviewing it, then it will happen quickly and that's fine as well.
All right, so I intended this as a short conversation about, like, boy, I have 3 ACL drafts and I have not yet gone through Chuck's at all, and so I wanted to hear from the authors. Rick, you're in queue, but I'm going to try and close this topic off and go to our agenda. But Rick, go ahead.
Oh, okay. All I was going to say is I think the Chuck one is an informational document. And in a sense, what I've done is basically implemented the same thing as an extension to 4.2. So there is a relationship there, although not a formal one. Make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. All right, Dave, you're going to close it out.
Yes, but I think you should be comparing those documents, and if there's any difference, we want to know about it. But I don't think there is. I think that that's a good thing.
Sure, we haven't moved any out of working group yet. All right, Tom, I'm hoping we can get your audio back, or we're going to have to shuffle schedule our agenda items. Did I lose Tom?
My bar shows green, but I don't hear me talking.
I can. Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay. I love being in a random place.
You want slide control?
Sure. How do I get that?
I'm passing it to you.
Okay, I have the slide control. All right. High level approach to eraser coding. It's also the FlexFile V2 effort. The feedback we got in Madrid was don't prescribe the solution, and we need to say who's the consistent writer. This was I got confused by what Christoph was speaking about when we talked about it, but it came through conversations to understand it's not the last writer he's concerned about, it's the consistent writer. So I'll talk about that in a bit. I have for reference the 3 modes, and I do see why Christoph said the last 2 were the same. I'll fix that in the slide deck. I'm just putting these up. I don't want to talk to him. I've talked to him in the past. How to attack the consistent writer. So the consistent writer that Christoph is talking about, or I'm paraphrasing, is how do you prevent 2 writers from overlapping their writing ability? And Christoph is wanting us to use layout ranges to lock out client interaction. And my argument, which is kind of weak here, is that we don't have to do that, in that we can use the clients to test for overwrites between each other and repair the process. Christoph has his hand up. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we should use layout ranges. It just
Okay.
felt like the most natural way to implement exclusive ranges.
Okay.
It was what came to mind. It's not a prescription. It's just a.
Oh no, I didn't take it as a prescription. It was just the feedback I constantly got. So let's start looking at the definition of consistent. Consistent means all of the contained chunks. So the chunks are when we take the block of data to be written and we split it into different chunks to send to the different DSs, we call a chunk. So it's consistent if all of them have the same guard. We talked about a guard the last couple of times, where the guard is basically a client ID and a timestamp. So if we can detect that all of them have the same client ID timestamp, we say they're consistent. We say they have integrity if they're all consistent and they all pass the CRC32 checks that go along with the blocks. So the basic writing strategy is we use a new operation called chunk write to all the DSs. Each DS is responsible for somehow saving the prior contents of each chunk. And when the client has verified that the chunks are all consistent, it can use chunk finalize to basically commit the chunk, not to commit the write. So we needed a term for committing the write and a term for committing the chunk. So I went with finalize. If we have races with the writes, we're going to lock the chunk. And finally, the client can inform the MDS of errors, and then the MDS picks a client, where a client in quotation marks, meaning that it's simply some client that understands the erasure coding algorithm. David.
Helps turn on mic now, doesn't it? Want a quick check. What I think you're doing here is saying that if I have overlapping concurrent writes, the atomicity is per chunk. The write itself is not an all or nothing transaction-like entity. Is that a correct understanding?
Agreed. Yes, that's exactly it. And we're this is the classic distributed writing problem.
I understand that it would be really good when this gets written up to put about that sentence in there, and in particular disabuse the reader of a notion that we are trying to make arbitrary writes atomic, because that's a fool's errand.
Yes, and it is the reason why we've spent so much time inside the working group on this, is is trying to stress that and to get an approach that's good enough. All right, and so I wanted to show this basic question. Oh my gosh. I wanted to show this in action. We have a data file and we have the saved contents. We see that client B and client C are both trying to write at the same time, and they're going to write lock the sections because C tried to write to DS0 and found that B had already written. So we don't want to allow the saved contents to be overwritten by a second writer. So once the write fails, we have it the area locked up, and we now need to repair it. I'm sorry, Christoph? I didn't see him. Christoph, do you need something?
He just commented he's not sure if he's having problems hearing you and complaining
Okay.
about Wi-Fi in the airport.
It's also my side. I'm fading in and out. So I'll just go ahead and we'll wait till the MDS picks a winner. It decides it's going to pick client B. So it has a client go repair the file, and we see that actually it has client B go repair it. So it goes and unlocks all of the areas that were locked and had its contents, and rewrites the ones that have C's contents. And the way it does this, it uses header reads and unlock and finalize and write repair to go fix up all of the contents. And notice that I don't care who wins, which is the last writer problem. I care that one of them wins.
What happens if no one wins and all the clients go away due to a network outage or something?
Oh, so that's a good question, Christoph, and I have a slide for that. But basically what happens is some reader in the future determines that the payload is not consistent and will be able to back out to the prior contents.
Oh, I'm really worried about that because that just adds so many more variables for getting things right. I mean, now
Agreed.
your read-only clients are part of the integrity protocol, and I think I have an idea how to solve some of that. Let me know when is the right time to hijack your talk for that.
Let's let David talk and then you hijack. Okay.
Yeah, David Blackdell. Yeah, we ought to dive into this. I'm understanding the mess we're making here is that if you mix chunks from two different writes in the same stripe, the result is that the erasure coding checks are wrong, because the erasure coding checks are expecting one or all the other, not some mix of both.
Correct. And let's even make it worse, David. It could be the fact that it was a single writer and the writer failed, so it has a mix of writes from the current client and verified writes from the previous whoever wrote it.
Yeah, we've been in this tar pit before where we were trying in the block layout to support client implementation of the RAID. That did not end well. I hope this has a better outcome.
Okay. Christoph, you want to hijack?
Yeah. So I've actually been thinking of this from the block layout angle a little too. I actually didn't know Dave had looked into that before, so I need to talk to him about that later. But so I think what makes this pretty sketchy is the concept of having your single, what was it, safe buffer like the SC here. What would be the problem if you could allocate to one for each client that has an outstanding write layout?
I tried that in the past, and the problem was simply the sheer complexity of if you have thousands of clients writing to, say, a large checkpoint file.
Assuming they all have a write layout, doing overrides to the same byte range, yes. And that's a use case?
Oh, not even the same byte range, but they were doing overwrites to multiple byte. No, they were not even doing overwrites. They're just doing writes into byte ranges. So this is one of the Luster checkpoint issues, where you're trying to each client is trying to checkpoint where it is in the run, and it's saving it to the common file, and so each one of them would need their own SC in your approach.
Well, assuming you actually have the same byte range covered for all the writers, and I know the current Linux client always does or server for that matter too, always do whole file layouts, but assume we can't get away from that. Do we really need a giant number of write layouts to the same range, or is it enough to have a few? Because that would solve a lot of the problems, because that means you could garbage collect your unused safe area when like the layout times out or in the layout recall, and that would get much nicer boundaries for resource lifetimes and error handling.
All right, I'll look into it.
Oh, good. Then I don't have to actually tell you guys to take this to the list.
Okay. All right, so we've repaired it for consistency. I've gone over the basic approach before, but just summarizing it again. Don't need to talk about it. The DS has to differentiate between finalized and non-finalized. Write to a finalized chunk makes a chunk non-finalized. Reads to a non-finalized, get the. Oh, I've got to fix this up. Never mind. Let's just go ahead with what I was talking about. The new operations, where they go to client to DS, client to MDS. I'm not going to read from this. And so we could have the case where we had client B has written everything into the data file. It goes to start finalizing the writes, and in the meantime, client C tries to write. And so my point is that all the operations can probably break integrity. We need to be careful at every time. So it's not just racing writers, it can be racing finalizers, racing, etc. The guarded write, the concept is based from the guarded set adder in V3. So basically, if we know that there is two clients contending for a byte range, they can say, I'm going to write, but only if the client ID and the timestamp I provide you match. If they don't match, then don't allow the write. Again, if it could be the case that the client dies in the middle of the chunk writes, and we just went over this, and the final question I struggle with are we prescribing the solution still? I'm still struggling with that. We're saying you have to do some way to save the contents. We're not telling you how, but we're still prescribing that you have to have a buffer to be able to recover. And basically the whole solution is to inform and repair. I don't want to do distributed consensus. I don't want to do we're trying to write to we're trying to code for the happy path. We're trying to prescribe. No, and I'm struggling with words this time. Anyway, I think I'm done. More questions? I missed the. Christoph?
Yeah, so my main concern is not really just prescribing solutions. In fact, I'm actually kind of struggling how you implement this at all. It's more the concept of the safe buffer. So for me, for a fail-safe distributed system, and this is definitely what we're doing, I don't think we should ever be committing stuff into global visibility until we know it's done. So basically, the way the safe buffer is done, if it's not private to a client or a layout, it just seems to leak too much into global state. And
Agreed. I've
that
struggled
doesn't
with.
mean
I'm.
that doesn't mean the concept of a safe buffer doesn't work, but I think it needs to be more tightly bound to an owner to work out.
So
And we need to get rid of the concept that a purely reading client would be part of fixing up failing writers.
Okay, so the first comment I had gone where you write to the safe buffer and then you write to the file when everything's finalized. I could go back to that. I'll take that to the list, and then the last part I'll take to the list as well. I think I'm done, Chris.
All right.
And I got to say, it's harder to do it remote than it is to do in person.
I'm gonna like put that as an advertisement for people to come attend.
Sure, what's $900? It's nothing if you're not paying it.
True story. All right, Dave, you want to come up and
Well, I'm here. I have a microphone. Okay?
all right. I guess I'll advance slides for you then.
All right, okay. So this is another episode in the ongoing saga of this specification effort. And I don't know how many have done these in serial. Anyway, this is 124, and there's been some work since 123, which I want to discuss.
Hold on a second. So, can you guys hear Dave remote?
Okay, do you?
Well, so when you eat the mic, it's obviously a lot more clear.
Yes.
Okay, so over the last, I don't know, I look back at it's been 5 years since we started this. A lot of these were originally individual drafts, and now we're moving forward where most of them are working group drafts. And there's definitely a need for a BIS document. And if I'd know how much need to be done, maybe I wouldn't have done this. Anyway, there's a lot of work was done.
Dave, Mike.
We had like a 50 errata, but they was the least of the work. And then we've got some things that were inherited from the past, from mistakes that were made with 4.0, with mistakes that were made with 4.0. We got approach to security. I know there's a lot of discussion about that, but there's no threat analysis. There's no discussion of the problems with the security problems with AuthSys, and I try to fix that without saying you can't use AuthSys because we've already made that mistake. And then the method approach to ACLs, I'll be talking about now that ACLs is a working group document. And I found the implementations of sessions in 4.1 was a great advance, but if you read the spec, it describes something that doesn't exist. You know, for example, if you control C request, the spec says you must not do that, and everybody does that. The Linux client does that, and I know nobody's going to change it, but we might as well change the spec to match the real implementation. Anyway, there's a lot of other issues about saying you must not do certain things, like you must not do NFSV4 RDMA with Rocky. That's supposedly a no-no according to the current spec. That had to be fixed. That had to be fixed. All right, let's go on to the next slide.
Oh, Christoph, were you in queue or you dropped back out?
Yeah, I just wanted to say is like for traditionally, it's not really just Linux. It's that basically, but we've been through this. It misses just how a layered OS works. So, but I guess that's just distracting. That's why I put myself outside the queue. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so we're far along in the process, and we've got to finish it. So the replacement documents were written. We inherited some problems from V4.0, of which the worst was ACLs, which dated back to a decision that was made before RFC 3010, like over 20 years ago. And big problems is we're not dealing substantively with authorization semantics, and that has to change. The lack of awareness of author security issues. And I think Rick pointed this out. The ACLs turned out was a supposed compromise, which didn't make sense. And it turned out to be that Rick had to revive positive ACLs in his draft as a 4.2 extension. And it's not clear, although I think what Christoph mentioned is getting some involvement from some of the people who are interested in this. And the other thing that we inherited that we fixed in 4.0, which is string prep based internationalization, that's fixed in the internationalization draft. All right, so that's that. Okay, and one of the problems that we had before we switched to the more incremental model that we have in V4.2 is things would get assigned, things that people wanted were assigned to version, and then to get it out, they're just rushed in, and nobody had any interest in making them review or action work, because to do that, you'd hold up the main feature, which was sessions. And so that applied to persistent reply cache, which is unimplementable in RFC 881, and directory delegations. I think we've made a lot of progress with that, and I think there are some limitations of that. Anyway, since 123, I have done some work. First of all, the chair's suggestion, I think it was also Gore's suggestion, that we rename and renumber these things and call them RFC 881 instead of 5661. And I've done some extensive work, which I'll talk in a later slide, about 881 BIS and the minor cleanup for internationalization. I think according to, we have a few issues with that I want to get fixed soon. All right. I think we move to the next slide. Okay, now that I'm talking, we've had limited review of these problems by the working group. I don't know how we fix that problem, because we have hundreds and hundreds of pages document and they need to be reviewed. And we have to do that. I have to figure out a process to get as good a review as we need, as we want. All right. And in addition to, we've had some document administration problems, which I've just been discussing with Chris. Some documents were lost in adoption, and I'm inclined to agree with Chris that the fault is the AI, some part of AI nonsense.
Don't try that experiment again.
So I think we've been through cycle this and we're making progress and need to finish up on these last two documents.
Rick?
Need to be adopted.
Yeah, all I was going to say is if you can somehow separate out a section and we work on a section. For example, your recent write up on directory delegations looks in really good shape. And I don't know if you heard, but we made a lot of progress on the experimental implementations and testing at the last Bakeathon. So somehow, if we can
Well,
focus
I
on
heard, but
one
I wasn't going to
section
say
like
it because
that
it's more up to
specific
you to
section-
say it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. I was talking at the same time.
Okay, I'm just saying it's good of you to say it, but that matches my impression.
So if somehow we can say we're now reviewing this section and we'll all read this section and make comments instead of just saying, well, here's another version of the big thing, read it. And I'll admit I'll never read it because I can't read something that big.
Well, I'll talk to Chris and see what we can do about that. I think maybe we may have to schedule some interim meetings. I don't know.
The chairs are open to that if the group is interested.
I think it's time to move on to the next slide. So our target date for this document is July 2026. It's only 9 months away, and I'd like us to make it or come as close as we can. The document, the RFC 881 BIS is pretty far along, and review the change sections. And I have a lot of stuff in the appendices that should guide review, and we may just take some prepared documents for a set of interim meetings. All right. We need to get going on this because it's been 16 years since RFC 5661 was published. So now this is a document, and this is a table, and this reflects the fact that a PowerPoint, if you try to modify an existing table, you're going to scream about Microsoft and what's done to the industry. It's just horrible. Anyway, this is what I got. So we've got 881 BIS as a working document. ACLs are now, so two of those are now working group documents. So that's good. And internationalization is a working group document, but it needs to get out of, makes a majority, but needs to get out of the WGLC, and I've talked to Chris about that. All right, then we have two documents that seem to be lagging about, that is about security and 5662 BIS. I don't see why they haven't been adopted. I've never heard any objections to, but we've never actually done it. So let's go on. Okay, all right, I think, yeah, okay. All right. Okay, let me tell you what I've been doing since 123. So I did some minor things that were suggested. It's now 881 BIS. I did some work which has been worked out well about directory delegations, which was an important feature. What somehow we never got it implemented, and there were some weaknesses, but they were really, they turned out to be easy to address once you decide to do that. And then I took the work, the great work that Tom did in RFC 8434 and tried to revise 881 BIS to include it. So now it used to be two sections about PNFS. One PNFS, and wasn't from time to talk about it talked about the files variant. And now we have one thing that established a framework, make sure what the what things are optional, and then there's a section 18 which explains what each layer type deck specification has to have, and now R19 fits into that thing, and I now understand PNFS files much better than I did. I hope it will help other people as well. But this document is far long, but needs more working group review. All right, internationalization. We've made some minor changes. I didn't see any things. I think Chris has told me there's some things that he will bring to the list about what else needs to be done, and we can close on that. That's my hope.
Yeah, I will say that the chairs have looked at this in last call and think that some of the appendices that are listed as informative in the doc, in particular, Appendix A, Appendix C is more historical information. That's obviously not normative, but some of the statements in Appendix A are both referenced from the normative text and also appear to be normative, and we're
Okay,
just
I'll review that,
we're trying to figure that out.
and I'll respond to the list.
Yeah, and so I will put those comments when I have my arms fully around where those lines I believe they are.
All right, this is the progress since, so now we have two Grun documents, one yellow, which we just talked about, and the two that are red, which somehow we need to proceed, and I don't know what the timing is, but we need to proceed on adoption calls for those.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're now getting to the end of this slide. All right, now, all of a sudden, I'd sort of given up on ACLs being, I didn't know when it was going to happen. And then, like 2 days ago, I looked at it and say, oh my God, all of a sudden, it's now a working group document. And so now it is. And now I have to review what's there, see if there's anything else that needs to be done, and other people do as well. And I think we have to look at that. I think we have to. It was written as it is now to coordinate with the POSIX ACLs. It says, well, ACLs are a general term, and the V4.1 ACLs that we present are one variant, and that makes an easier transition to the POSIX ACLs. And then we have to figure out what is the future of NFSV4 ACL model. Given that 99% of the people want the POSIX ACL meals, and how do we deal with the people, 1 to 10% of the people who want the other model, and how much do they really want? There's two features that NetApp does have an implementation of NFSV4 ACLs, but the two things that doesn't support, I wonder if anybody supports, is separate permissions for extending the file and overwriting bytes in the file. And it's not clear all the time how for any given write that is. And a very un-POSIX thing is permission. You don't have permission to get at a file. I don't see why anyone wants that. It's very un-POSIX. It's just, what does someone in a POSIX environment do with that?
So this is my version of taking the chair hat off, is apparently standing at the speaker mic. Anyway, I will say that I feel like, in some of my conversations with Microsoft at large, I mean, I don't know that their view of I think the world of Windows positioning has definitely changed in the past decade, and I think my guess is Microsoft may be more open, and the Windows folks in general, in particular, may be more open to being amenable to different ACL, ACL models, and we should actually reach out and see what we can do there. I think we should not believe that this problem is a mountain when it may not be so, tall.
Well, so if we can get
Again,
those
as a
people
contributor.
involved, if they don't think it's a mountain, that'd be good with me. All right, let's go. I think that's about it. I think maybe that's the end of it. All right. Okay. Now maybe this slide would be different if I wrote it today, but we've now got more momentum, but we still have these two documents, and we have to get rid of that. And so let's go on to the next slide. So, which is my proposal.
Dave, eat the mic.
That's my proposal. Yes. All right. Next slide. All right. Infringement, I take that back. I will work on what Chris has pointed out. The other Ds, we should begin an adoption call within the next week. Provide at least 1 month for comments and go on, adopt it or not, and go on with those. And then we'll proceed to do the reviews of all these documents and get into on the path to completion. All right, that's it.
Okay. I guess we're into the all other business, and you certainly may.
Okay, so 881 this isn't quite 881 pages, it's only 850. But how... Oh, yeah, okay, well, whatever, yeah. But seriously, how do we review that as a community and know that we have got consensus and record those reviews? That's a significant page count. When that reaches the IESG, they're going to really quiz me on, like, have people read all these sections and really accepted it? Because it's a lot of page count, and they've got to read it as well. So, do we have a mechanism for doing? I mean, if it was in GitHub, just for the purpose of the reviewing and processing part, that might be a way to actually know that we've gone through section by section, and these are confirmed and these are not.
We did convert that, I will thank Karsten for a lot of support on there. We did convert it into GitHub. I don't know. I don't think Dave is working off of that version right now, so we may have diverged somewhat. I'm sure we could solve that.
Yeah.
I'll be submitting today or tomorrow the O2, and that should be a common basis.
Yeah, so you do your work in XML, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it'll still. So we'll. We're trying to get there.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll have some. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I heard that last time, and it's not going to be easy to persuade the IESG that we've read 800 and plus pages and that we agree as a working group. Yeah, I know this group probably will. So let's just accumulate that evidence as we go ahead.
So Corey, when we did 3530 BIS, what we did was we had interim meetings where we would say we're covering chapter 1, 2, and 3, whatever. And we would go through those at that meeting. And we actually did go through them at the meeting. And then we would update on the list or, the document. And then the next interim meeting, we would go through the next chapters. And we didn't diverge too far from our agenda in those meetings.
Sounds wonderful, except
No, I'm just telling you what we did in the past.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what we should do. And please keep some sort of audit trail, as in keep issues somewhere that you by chapter or section or whatever it is, and we'll know we've got through it, and everyone will be happy. So I'll go and sit down. It's just I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Okay, so to that point, the chairs are interested in, if folks want interims, they're willing to participate in interims, how they would like interims to be structured. Right. So the chairs can put out agendas, but what should those be? What is that set of things that we, how do we want to go forward on it doesn't necessarily have to be strictly about 88, 81 bis, but like, where's the working group?
Well, I would follow as close as we can what Tom just said. If other matters come up, let them come up, but let's schedule the first one about the first section of 88 and 81 bis.
Any other thoughts? I mean, from Rick's comment about the Bake-a-thon and other things, it sounds like directory delegations may be a good topic area to start to tackle. I don't know that we have to do them in sequential order. I mean, at least in the chair's opinion, I think it makes sense to tackle them in the order in which they are possibly most ready to be, kind of really reviewed. But again, I'm the chair. I'm trying to enable, right? You guys are doing this, and I think we should be willing to say that, hey, these parts are ready, these parts aren't. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So I'm looking for some feedback here, and maybe we don't have to do this here and now, but the chairs are interested, and we're happy to schedule an interim. We could at least do one interim, before the new year. I don't know, just the way holidays and I'm not going to, no desire to schedule an interim when no one's actually going to show up. That's of no use to anyone. Whoa.
What happened there?
A lot of this just reset.
Excellent. That's what we need.
Can you guys still hear us?
I
Yes.
hear you.
All right. Well, that's good. Okay. So most working groups that are doing interims are doing one in the period up to December, and then one in late January, early February. That's probably a reasonable cadence. And most interims are focused on probably one set of issues and one or two documents, but no more, so they can actually make traction.
Yep. Go ahead, Rick.
All I was going to say is I think you have a good idea that if you schedule one in December and we work on the directory delegation section, which is I think is in pretty good shape, and the experimental implementations went well at the last Bake-a-thon. So I think that's a good idea as far as I'm concerned.
We'll get that. I will. So far, I feel like there's no objection to it. I don't know if I'd exactly call it consensus, but I'll happily schedule that. We can schedule that, and we can save a little bit of time at the end of that meeting to figure out what the next topic is. If that works for folks, again, push back. Chairs are open to that feedback if that's not workable for folks.
So I was just going to say, definitely send a mailing out to the NFSV4 at IETF.org, but also send it to Linux NFS, because the people who are working on the experimental implementation, if they want to discuss the document, should be involved. Basically, Jeff and Anna.
I can do that.
and see, and that hopefully will give you whether there's a consensus for people to do it.
Two dates.
So anybody.
I think you're like, yeah. No, go ahead.
I'm worried about it.
You know, like,
Fix 2 dates in the schedule if you can. Use doodle poll. We can always cancel one.
Yep.
But from the IETF process point of view, it's good that people know when interims are going to appear.
So Gory's comment, by the way, every time, just so that people know, every time he gets up, half of the equipment, there's a static shock and half of the equipment seems to reset. He's scared of the mic now, and I would be too if I were him. But anyway, his,
Nobody here knows CPR.
yeah, his comment was to fix 2 dates so that, you know, people can plan. And from our Gory's, our AD, and his comments before of we can schedule one probably early-ish December. We'll likely, I'll put out a poll for that. Please respond to the poll, folks. I'll send out a poll for that, and then probably late January as the rough time frames. Nothing set here. And we'll poll for that as well. We'll try to get those done as soon as possible. So look for those, and I will send them out to both lists, to the Linux NFS as well. All right, open mic. Anybody, any other comments? I'll happily give you back your roughly 15 minutes. All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, Brian?
Thanks. Just saying thanks.
As well, thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. And maybe next time I'll have conned Chuck Lever into coming as well. So, you know, something to look forward to.
Yep.
All right. Hey, look, I'll be honest. Chuck actually tried to join this time and didn't quite make it. If I can get Chuck to join remote, I feel like I will have accomplished something. Okay. So. Yeah. I will have to do, when we get to that point, let's get these interims out of the way. I think there will be a real conversation of who's really going to go to Shenzhen, and is it, if folks aren't going to attend in person, is the time zone really going to end up being a barrier?
Well, always.
We'll cross that bridge when we get at least a little bit closer to it.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All right.
Have a good one.
Everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
That's the end of my IETF 124. Look to seeing you at the interims. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Sorry? There's a plan. There's a plan. Yeah. And may even have a fight too.
Getting home is that's tomorrow's problem. When are you back out?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Do you have meetings tomorrow as well?